For a long time, military power was pretty simple, right? It was all about having bigger ships, faster jets, stronger tanks. But what if all of that, the very foundation of military might, is becoming obsolete? We're going to dive into how new technologies aren't just making our weapons a little bit better. They are fundamentally rewriting the entire rulebook of war.
So let's just start with a really provocative question. Are these incredible billion-dollar warships and next-gen stealth bombers already obsolete? I mean, it sounds crazy, but these crown jewels of military power might be way more vulnerable than we think. And not to a bigger, badder version of themselves, but to something completely different. Something cheaper, smarter, and something that can come at you in numbers you just can't handle.
You see, the rules are changing, and fast. Sure, the history of warfare is full of game-changing inventions, but what's happening today is different. This revolution is moving at the speed of software. The tools that once belonged only to superpowers are becoming smaller, cheaper, and frankly, available to almost anyone. To really get our heads around this, we can actually borrow a big idea from the business world. It's called disruptive innovation. It's the theory that explains how tiny startups can suddenly topple massive corporations. And you know what? It's the perfect way to understand what's happening with military tech right now. Okay, so what's the difference? Well, on one hand, you have sustaining innovation. This is about making what you already have better. Think of a new fighter jet that flies, 10% faster. It's an improvement for sure. But then you have disruptive innovation. This isn't about playing the same game better, it's about changing the game entirely. It's not building a better jet, it's unleashing 1,000 cheap drones that make that expensive jet's whole mission pointless. And in the military world, this kind of disruptive tech, it almost always looks kind of weak at first. You know, it can't go toe-to-toe with the big, established systems, but it has these other advantages nobody's paying attention to. It's incredibly cheap, it's expendable, you can use a ton of them, and over time, these inferior little technologies get better and better, and eventually, they completely flip the script on what it means to be powerful.
So, what are these game-changing forces? We could think of them as the four horsemen of this new technological apocalypse, so to speak. Now, each one is a powerhouse on its own, but the real revolution, it's how they're all converging and working together on the battlefield.
First up, and this one is probably the big one, is artificial intelligence. And look, this isn't sci-fi anymore. This is the real-world ability for machines to learn, to see what's going on around them, and to make decisions at a speed and scale that is just beyond human capability. The impact AI is having is just immense. We're talking about everything from weapons that can find their own targets to supply chains that know a part is going to fail before it actually breaks. But the truly mind-bending part might be in decision-making itself. It's about shrinking that time it takes a commander to see something, figure out what to do, and then act, essentially getting inside your opponent's head before they've even had their first thought.
Okay, our second horseman, advanced robotics. Now, if AI is the brain, robotics and unmanned systems, they're the body. This is what gives all that smart software a physical presence on the battlefield, and it completely changes the calculus of risk by pulling human soldiers out of the most dangerous situations.
I mean, we all see this with the absolute explosion of drones in the air, but it's happening on the ground and under the sea too. And the really disruptive idea here is swarming. Forget sending one super expensive, complex machine. Imagine sending 100 or 1,000 cheap, coordinated robots that can just overwhelm even the most advanced defenses on the planet. Horseman number 3 is the network. Think of this as the digital nervous system. It's the connective tissue that links every single thing together, every soldier, every sensor, every drone, every weapon, into one giant, intelligent organism that can react instantly. This gives rise to this incredibly powerful idea called distributed lethality. It means that a tiny, cheap drone can spot a target and in a blink, send that data to a missile launcher hundreds of miles away. The whole process of finding a threat and dealing with it collapses from hours, maybe even days, down to just a few seconds. It's a total game changer.
And our final horseman brings us back to the physical world. It's about the very stuff things are made of. We're seeing breakthroughs in new materials and advanced manufacturing that are letting us build hardware that's lighter, tougher, stealthier, and can even be printed on demand, right where it's needed.
And this isn't just about, slightly better armor. Picture this, 3D printing a critical replacement part for a tank right there at a forward base instead of waiting weeks for it to be shipped across the ocean. That single ability makes a military force so much more resilient and less dependent on these long, fragile supply lines.
So what happens when you combine the brains of AI, the bodies of robotics, the nervous system of networks, and the bones of these new materials? Well, you don't just get better weapons, you get an entirely new battlefield, one that operates under a completely different set of rules.
And this shift is it's fundamental. The old way of war was about mass, big armies, huge fleets, all concentrated in one place. The new way is all about smaller, decentralized forces spread all over the map. The winning edge isn't just having better gear anymore. It's about who controls the information. That massive aircraft carrier is now less threatened by another carrier and more by a perfectly coordinated swarm of cheap, smart drones. And all this leads to a pretty startling new reality, what some are calling the democratization of warfare. Think about it. Things that used to be only for global superpowers, like precision-guided weapons, advanced surveillance, powerful cyber tools, they're now becoming available to smaller countries and even non-state groups. The playing field is being leveled in a way we've never seen before.
This whole technological revolution isn't just about engineering problems. It forces us to face some incredibly tough questions. The challenges are institutional, they're ethical, and honestly, they're deeply philosophical.
For today's big, established militaries, the hurdles are huge. Their procurement systems are slow and bureaucratic, designed to build a battleship over 20 years, not to update software every 2 weeks. They're in a talent war with Silicon Valley for the best engineers. And, of course, they have to wrestle with the enormous ethical questions that come with building autonomous weapons.
And that leaves us with this final, critical thought. When war starts to move at the speed of algorithms, when decisions are made faster than any human can possibly comprehend, what happens to human control? What is the role of human accountability, of human conscience, of human morality? That's the question we absolutely have to answer before the technology starts answering it for us.